Maybe niggas are scared to hustle because niggas are snitching so much. Maybe that's what's going on. I would be scared to hustle too when I know that every other nigga is snitching just so he don't want to do no time because he's can't bear to be inside the jail system.
Jim Jones, who is Jim Jones? Like, he's not on anyone's top 10 list. He's like no one's top 10 list, maybe not even his family.
First of all, let's get right to it. There seems to be some drama. You and The Rock, Jay-Z, you try to diss, you did diss him.
I just nobody.
You dissed him.
I dissed Michael Jordan.
A wild audio clip just popped up out of nowhere, and it's got Jay-Z throwing serious shade at Jim Jones. Like, no filter at all. Jay basically clowns Jim, calling him a fake rapper who never earned his stripes. Fans had to stop scrolling like, did he really just say that? But hold up, it gets messier. Jay ain't just airing out old beef, he's sitting right next to someone folks been calling out for years. A dude that people are straight up calling a certified informant.
Rapper Jim Jones is listed as a federal informant in court documents in the case against Tekashi. In the original court transcripts that were previously released online, the conversation between individual 1, Jim Jones, is listed as cooperating with federal agents in a conversation with Jamal Malmurder Jones, which would explain why Jim Jones has been able to have such a lengthy criminal record and avoid prison time in the past.
And now everybody's scratching their heads. How's Jay preaching loyalty and street codes while sitting side by side with someone people say broke all of them?
As we can tell, there's no expense being spared. We had a black billionaire's lunch. Yeah. You understand?
Right.
And we here together.
I think we passed kneeling.
Let me play it again. This time, look at the reaction of the lady sat just behind him. The reason why she's worried about how Jay would respond is because she's the CEO of Rock Nation. But in her former life, she was a federal informant.
Now, let's not act like Jim Jones is new to the mess. Nah, he's been in the middle of some wild convos before. Remember when he said slick stuff about Nas? Yeah, that already had fans tight. So when this new audio dropped, old drama started bubbling right back up. Screenshots, past interviews, DMs, quotes from way back. The internet did what it does best and dug up everything. And let's just say, Jim didn't exactly
Cover that Jim Jones, man. Hip hop, of course, you know, it's a competitive sport. But on the other end of it, it's like certain people shouldn't be able to say your names until they done something in the genre of music. I've done too much in this music to even have to answer that question. Like, Jim Jones, who is Jim Jones? Like, he's not on anyone's top 10 list. He's like no one's top 10 list, maybe not even his family. I was saying last night, it's like the 8th guy on the bench just screaming at Jordan, like, you a bum. Like, you like the 9th guy on the bench. I'm not even worried about you.
Come out looking squeaky clean. But here's where things get straight up confusing. If Jay really thought Jim was shady all this time, why did he bring him under the Rock Nation umbrella in the first place? Like, what's that move about? If trust was already broken, why make him part of the team? That's why people are talking. Is this really about loyalty? Or was it all just a power play? Personal beef? Business?
He definitely humiliating Shotty right now, bro.
Well, you got the picture up there next to the post. You know, like when you go to YouTube and World Star, they got his picture next to this. Everything he say, they got a split screen with Shotty picture next to this. I said, this is crazy, son. But he's doing that to make K9 think he don't got no relationship with Boy. That's what he's trying to do. He's trying to separate himself.
This move? Maybe both? And the timing of this leak, way too perfect. This ain't some random accident. Nah, someone dropped this clip on purpose and it hit hard. Now everyone's wondering, who's pulling the strings behind?
Yeah, super violent. Super duper. So ain't too much he can really do unless he gonna run around with 100 armed securities all day. You know what I'm saying? He gonna get shot at pen.
He ain't getting enough money for that.
That's a fact. And he just canceled all his shows.
He ain't a gang member no more.
Nah, he ain't nothing.
That's what Shotty needs to make sure he do.
Nah,
tell that he's not a gang member no more. He kicked out the whip. He was never a gang member. Shotty needs to expose him.
Behind the scenes at Rock Nation, here's the part that's got folks really talking. Did Jay-Z already know something about Jim Jones that the public wasn't hip to yet? If Jay was throwing subliminals, basically saying Jim wasn't a real one, or hinting that he was playing a different role out in the streets, then why bring him into the circle at all? It's got people side-eyeing the whole situation. See, whispers about Jim Jones been floating around for years, behind the scenes, off camera, low-key interviews with cryptic comments. But when 50 Cent enters the chat, oh, it's definitely going public, and 50 didn't miss a beat. He hit Instagram with a pic of Jim posted up with Jay-Z, Diddy, Fat Joe, and a few more top-tier names. But it was the caption that had the whole industry talking. LOL individual one, calling the shots out here. I know you working, so please don't say gangster stuff to me. Individual one. Boom! That was the blow that lit the fire. People started putting 2 and 2 together, and now the streets are asking, who's real, who's fake, and who's just playing the game better than the rest? People started asking, why was Jim even on a call like that? And just how deep did his ties really go? At first, it was all just talk, speculation, but the names dropped, the voices heard, and the timing, it all had people looking real suspicious. That wiretapped audio didn't just raise eyebrows, it shook the whole scene. Ever since, it's been hanging over Jim's head like a cloud that just won't go away. The clip that set everything off allegedly caught Jim Jones chopping it up with a high-ranking 9 Trey figure. And what were they talking about? Tekashi 6999. Specifically, how to deal with him after he publicly walked away from the gang. The mood in that convo? Cold, strategic. It felt like a behind-the-scenes plan being set in motion. And then came the part that had folks really listening. Jim didn't come out and say anything too reckless, but the way he worded things, the tone, it sounded like he was definitely hinting at consequences. He was sending a message, and the streets heard it loud and clear. But the biggest shock wasn't even what was said, it was what came after. Because even though that tape linked Jim to serious 9 Trey movers, when the feds swooped in and handed out charges like candy, Jim's name? Nowhere. No indictment. No court. No mugshot. Nothing. That's when the whispers turned into full-on street gossip. How did Jim, the guy caught on a federal wiretap, walk away clean? People started asking tough questions. Was he protected? Did he have a pass? Was he playing the game just right behind the curtains? Nobody pushed those questions harder than Whack 100. He didn't hold back. He said flat out, ain't no way you that close to all that heat and don't get burned unless somebody got your back. That quote went viral. It had the internet on fire. And whether folks agreed or not, they couldn't deny one thing. Jim was caught up in one of the wildest, most publicized courtroom sagas in hip-hop. And somehow he came out the other side untouched. And Whack 100 didn't just say it once and move on. Nah, he stayed on Jim's neck. Clubhouse rants, interviews, even face-to-face with Tekashi himself. Whack kept calling Jim out, daring him to prove everybody wrong. Show the paperwork. Shut the streets up. That challenge still hangs in the air like smoke. But Whack wasn't the only one stirring the pot. Out of nowhere, Jaja, a former Dipset member who used to roll tight with Jim, jumped in and lit a whole new fire. She claimed she had receipts, real ones, that Jim helped set up his own people, including longtime friend Mel Murda, and that is where things hit another level. If Jaja was telling the truth, then this ain't just about distancing himself when things got too hot. It's about Jim possibly flipping the spotlight, putting the heat on somebody else to keep himself safe. That kind of move? In the streets, it changes everything. That's when the whole he's protected story started gaining even more steam. It was no longer just whispers, it was becoming a full-on theory, and people were connecting dots. The snitch rumors didn't just come out of thin air, they came out of moments like this. And now that you know how Jim's name got wrapped up in that label, it's time to circle it right back to Jay-Z, because that's when things start getting really complicated. Jay-Z jumped on a remix of Cameron and Juelz Santana's hit Oh Boy, but instead of just riding the wave, he used it to fire fresh shots at Nas. And that's when everything started cracking inside the Rockefeller crew. Cam and Jim, they weren't here for it at all. They straight up blocked the remix from dropping. Cam didn't just reject it, he snatched Jay's verse off the song completely. That move sent a clear message. This ain't your war, This ain't your platform. Later on, Cam explained it plain. He wasn't gonna let Jay turn their song into his personal battlefield. That one decision, it drew a hard line between Jay and the Dipset boys. And after that, the vibe changed for good. Cam and Jim started moving like they felt disrespected, not just as rappers, but as men. That tension started leaking out everywhere. Little jabs in interviews, slick comments on radio shows, and eventually it turned into full-blown beef. Jim especially wasn't holding his tongue. He called Jay out for being too polished, too corporate, acting like a boardroom boss instead of someone who came from the trenches. But this wasn't just music talk. Jim was making it personal. He kept pushing that image of staying real, keeping his circle tight, and never flipping for fame. He even called out other artists who switched sides or folded when the heat got turned up. Meanwhile, Jay, he stayed silent for a minute. He didn't respond at first, but anybody with eyes could see something was brewing behind the scenes. Rockefeller was looking shaky, not like a family, more like a breakup in slow motion. Then came 2006, and Jim dropped We Fly High. Boom! That track exploded everywhere. From the clubs to the corners, from radios to high schools, it became an instant anthem. Ballin' was echoing across the whole country. That kind of success couldn't be ignored. And Jay-Z finally stepped out of the shadows. He clapped back with his own version, Brooklyn High, flipping Jim's hit right back at him. Jay made it clear he wasn't about to let Jim run New York unchallenged. This was no longer about music. This was a power play, a legacy war. Both of them fighting to prove who really owned the sound and the soul of New York. But Jim wasn't backing down. Nah, he doubled up and dropped another remix, the Beef Mix. And this time, he didn't even try to be subtle. He went straight at Jay's legacy, mocking him for being older, disconnected, and out of touch with the streets. One of the hardest lines, warn your old self, better chill, better slow down before your old self gets dealt with. That bar hit like a punch. It didn't take long for that line to go viral. Blogs lit up, radio stations couldn't stop spinning it, and barbershops had debates going all day. Jim had turned the heat all the way up. What started as a simple verse turned into one of the grimiest back and forths in the game. And New York was eating it up, because once you're inside the house, you can't throw rocks from the outside no more. You're part of the machine now. The way you move, it shifts. The way you talk, it hits different. And when you start complaining, it don't sound real. It sounds like bitterness. And here's the real kicker. Jay-Z never vouched for Jim, not once. No public cosign, no big welcome, not even a lazy tweet. No rollout, no Rock Nation press moment, nothing. Just straight silence. It was like Jay let the deal happen, but didn't give Jim a drop of clout to go with it. See, that's Jay's style. Cold moves, quiet ones. He don't argue, he restructures. Instead of clapping back, he shifts the narrative without lifting a finger. And when the world sees someone standing next to Jay, all those old shots they fired, forgotten, like they never even happened. So when folks started saying this wasn't about forgiveness, they weren't reaching. This felt strategic, like Jay wasn't bringing Jim in out of love, but to leverage him. Keep a known loudmouth nearby, but on mute. Use the association, but never hand over the keys. And you could feel it too. After that Rock Nation move, Jim's whole energy changed. All that loud talk, that chest out confidence, gone. It cooled off quick. No more big disses, no more war talk. It was like Jay didn't exile him. Well, he absorbed him just enough to take the fire out. But what if Jay-Z never picked a side in this beef? What if it was never about loyalty and always about control? Cause let's keep it a buck. Jay didn't need Jim Jones, but Jim, he definitely needed Jay. And when those wiretap convos started swirling and the internet turned up, Jay played it how he always does. Protect the brand, protect the throne, keep the hands clean. No reactions, no statements, just business as usual. He didn't need to defend Jim because Jim wasn't really his to defend. So maybe Jay wasn't shook by the snitch talk. Maybe he wasn't even bothered by the whispers. Maybe what really rubbed him the wrong way was the idea that if someone was playing a dirty game behind the scenes, they weren't playing for his team. And that changes the whole conversation about Rock Nation. Is it just a music label, a billion-dollar business, or is it something deeper? like a chessboard where every move is calculated to control everything. We want to know what you think. Was this about power, position, or just keeping enemies close enough to silence them? Drop a comment below and let's get into it. Smash that like button, hit subscribe, and tap the bell so you never miss when we break down the real story behind the headlines. You're watching Shade Loop, where silence gets decoded and every play gets exposed. Catch you next time. Keep your eyes open, stay locked in,